Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. Trump administration orders 10% of flights cut at 40 busiest airports starting Friday as the US government shutdown continues to cause staffing shortages. US Supreme Court casts doubt on legality of Trump's global tariffs under emergency law. Trump says it would be devastating if they lost the case. Death toll from cargo plane crash in Kentucky rises to 12. Investigators find black boxes, conclude that one of the engines caught fire and detached during takeoff, causing the accident. First phase of assembly elections in the state of Bihar today. 121 constituencies go to vote across 18 districts in one of the most fiercely run election campaigns. Indian Navy to commission indigenously built INS Kshak on Thursday at Kochi to boost hydrographic survey capabilities. The Trump administration announced on Wednesday that it will cut the scheduled capacity for flights by 10% from Friday morning as the government grapples with ongoing shutdown. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said that he would order 10% of flights at 40 major U.S. airports to be cut starting Friday unless a deal to end the federal government shutdown is reached. Duffy warned that if the shutdown continued another week, it could lead to a mass chaos and force him to close some of the national airspace to air traffic.
I anticipate there will be additional disruptions. There will be frustration. We are working with the airlines. They're going to work with passengers. But in the end, our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible. The administrator is going to talk about all of the tools we're going to deploy. One of them, though, is going to be that there is going to be a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 of our locations.
The shutdown, now in its 37th day and the longest in U.S. history, has forced 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 Transportation Security Administration agents to work without pay. This has worsened staff shortages, caused widespread flight delays and extended lines at airport security screening. The cuts were expected to hit the 30 busiest airports, including those serving New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Atlanta, Los Angeles and Dallas. The federal government has mostly closed as Republicans and Democrats are locked in a standoff in Congress over a funding bill. Democrats have insisted they would not approve a plan that does not extend health insurance subsidies, while Republicans have rejected that. U.S. President Donald Trump and Republicans have been trying to intensify pressure on Democrats by increasing the pain felt by average Americans from the government shutdown.
Let's move forward. I'd like to move forward. I'd like to get it going, but it's really up to them. And we're here. If they say yes, it's done. Because we have already, we have voted just about unanimously, almost unanimously, to move forward. We're ready to do it.
President Trump's global tariffs appear to be on shaky ground after Supreme Court justices on Wednesday casted doubt on legality of President Trump's global tariffs under emergency law. Conservative and liberal justices alike sharply questioned the lawyer representing Trump's administration about Trump's use of emergency powers to impose tariffs on imports from nearly every U.S. trading partner. In a hearing lasting more than 2.5 hours, several conservative justices questioned whether the International Emergency Economic Powers Act that Trump invoked confers the authority to impose tariffs. Solicitor General, arguing on behalf of the Trump administration, said this did not apply given the president's inherent broad range of authorities. Meanwhile, responding to the Supreme Court hearing on tariffs, US President Trump said it would be devastating if they lost the case.
It would be devastating for our country if we lost that. Devastating. I think it's one of the most important, maybe the most, but one of the most important cases in the history of our country.
All right, and DD Akshay Dongre joins us live. Hi, Akshay. Very good morning to you. Akshay, the US government shutdown's impact could be clearly seen on the aviation industry now. 10% cut in flights at 40 major US airports. How do you see this, Akshay?
Well, this was bound to happen, Siddharth, because the kind of shutdown and the way it has stretched to a record now, the longest shutdown ever in the U.S. history, is impacting people, is impacting families, impacting federal workers who are not getting salaries, who have been laid off. The functioning of the government, day-to-day functioning, and this cut was necessary because you can't risk the safety of air traffic, the passengers, the flights, the goods, and everything else. Because if the workers are less, then the measures to implement the security measures are less. To monitor the ATC and everything else is less as well, and that can result into a devastating accident as well. That's the worst case scenario. So situation to bring it under control, the workers are being cut down. But it's not just the aviation sector. It's across sectors, be it healthcare, be it social security, education, other areas as well, where federal workers are deployed. All of those areas are seeing impact as far as these. This government shutdown is concerned, and now what we are seeing is a total turnaround from what US President Donald Trump was saying earlier, about 20 days back, that it's a good opportunity to sort of cut back on certain schemes that have been going on and that he found useless. And he also said that shutdown can be an opportunity to remove dead wood. But now, we just heard he is pinning the blame of the losses in Virginia, in New York, and in New Jersey on the shutdown. And it seems that this is going to be the modus operandi. But whether or not the Democrats and the Republicans will be able to end the shutdown and the government bring the government back on track, that remains to be seen, especially with an empowered Democratic Party now after the victories in the recent states.
The shutdown is a lot, when it comes to United States, and there seems to be no consensus between Democrats and Republicans. How do you assess that?
Well, it's been going on for about 40 days now, 38 days now. It's the same thing, Siddharth. It remains the same. That it's over budgetary allocation, and it will only solve when the two parties agree to come to a consensus about these schemes like social security, healthcare for Americans, where still no indications are coming in from the Republicans.
Definitely. Akshay, also, what is the update as far as the Supreme Court's hearing regarding Trump's tariffs are concerned? Any update on that?
Well, the indication, Siddharth, is clearly that there are doubts. There are serious doubts that have been expressed by the judges in the U.S. Supreme Court. The majority of judges is in the conservative, camp, which is about 6-3. So there are about 6 conservative judges to 3, non-conservative liberal judges, where the hopes are high from the Republican Party that they will be siding with the Trump administration, but. All of those conservative judges also have their doubts. They are expressing doubts. Questions were raised during the hearing that, what is the utility of such sweeping tariffs? So tariffs are not in question as per the Trump administration is trying to portray, but the kind of, unilateral tariffs that have been implemented. So the questions that were raised were that why were tariffs there on Spain? Why were tariffs there on France? Those are not the major trade countries either at this point in time, and they are our allies. So situation remains, on a wait and watch mode because the hearing is going to take some time. Supreme Court takes a lot of time to give verdict on these kind of hearings. But in this particular case, because it involves, the U.S. economy, the world, global trading system, and billions of dollars in trade, as Donald Trump is pointing it out to be, expectations are that the judges will be moving quickly to conclude the hearing on this case.
All right, Akshay, we leave it there. Thank you so much. The United States Federal Aviation Safety investigators have located black box recorders from the wreckage of a UPS cargo plane that crashed at Louisville, Kentucky, killing at least 12 people. Todd Inman, a member of the National Transportation Safety Board, also confirmed that a large plume of fire erupted around the plane's left wing and that one of its 3 engines detached from that wing. Inman, in the first NTSB briefing since the disaster, said the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder appeared to be intact when located. He added, so far there was no evidence of a link between the accident and the government shutdown. The 34-year-old MD-11 freighter was bound for Honolulu with 3 crew members aboard when it crashed just after clearing a fence at the end of the runway during takeoff on Tuesday evening. The international airport in Louisville reopened to air traffic Wednesday, although the runway where the accident happened is expected to remain closed for another 10 days. Boeing reached a last-minute settlement in one of 2 lawsuits in this week's trial in Chicago over a 2019 737 MAX crash that killed 157 people. The deal leaves a single plaintiff remaining in the first civil trial over the March 2019 Ethiopian Airlines crash, which began in earnest Wednesday after attorneys on Tuesday finalized jury selection. The lawsuits stem from March 10, 2019. Flight that crashed 6 minutes after departing Addis Ababa for Nairobi, killing all 157 people on board. Family members of 155 victims filed lawsuits between April 2019 and March 2021, alleging wrongful death and negligence, among other claims. Alonso has been splitting the cases into groups with 5 or 6 plaintiffs at a time. In prior rounds, the judge has cancelled proceedings after all the cases in a group settled. In the latest handover to take place under a US brokered ceasefire, a body of a deceased hostage was transferred into Israel on Wednesday and arrived at the National Forensics Institute for identification. The office in the statement said Israel's forensics authority will confirm the identity of the remains, and if proven to belong to hostage, there would be 6 remaining deceased hostages in Gaza. Under a ceasefire deal that took effect on October 10, Hamas turned over all 20 living hostages held in Gaza. In exchange, Israel freed hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in its custody. Meanwhile, Israel has accused Hamas of dragging its feet in returning the bodies of deceased hostages, while the Palestinian group says the process is slow because many are buried beneath Gaza's rubble. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered his top officials on Wednesday to draft proposals for a possible test of nuclear weapons, something Moscow has not done since the 1991 collapse of the Soviet Union. The order was a further signal that the 2 countries with the world's largest nuclear arsenals are rapidly nearing a step that could sharply escalate geopolitical tensions. Russia-US relations have deteriorated sharply in the past few weeks as Trump has cancelled a planned summit with Putin and imposed sanctions on Russia for the first time since returning to the White House in January. Putin issued his instruction at a meeting of his Security Council, responding to President Donald Trump's announcement last week that the US would resume testing.
I am instructing the Foreign Ministry, the Defense Ministry, the Special Services and relevant civilian agencies to do everything possible to collect additional information on the issue, analyze it at the Security Council, and make agreed proposals on the possible start of work on the preparation of nuclear weapons tests.
US President Donald Trump warned on Wednesday that the United States would cut all aid to Nigeria and potentially intervene militarily if country did not halt the persecution and killing of Christians.
The Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians. The USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. We're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast before it's too late. If they don't, there's going to be hell to pay.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's government rejected its designation by the United States as a country of particular concern over alleged religious freedom violations, saying the move was based on misinformation and faulty data.
Recent external claims suggesting systemic religious persecution in Nigeria are unfounded. The recent designation of Nigeria as country of particular concern based on speculations of religious persecution is fundamentally misinformed.
Last week, Trump put Nigeria back on a list of countries that have violated religious freedom. On November 1st, he had asked the Defense Department to prepare for possible fast military action if Nigeria does not crack down on the killing of Christians. Washington's decision to designate Nigeria as a violator of religious freedoms has strained diplomatic ties between the two countries. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum says she will press charges against a man who robbed her during a public appearance. Ahead of COP30, Brazil unveils roadmap to mobilize climate funds. In Bangkok, thousands gather to celebrate Thailand's annual Loy Krathong festival.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Tell us whether the British were really interested in religion or was this all about politics?
The British wanted to know as much about it as they could. But what they got was not necessarily a truly accurate reflection of the lived reality. It doesn't matter what your religion is as long as the man is good.
I cannot not ask you about the Kerala story, that contentious, controversial movie.
It really was not just propaganda, it was just blatantly false.
You're watching DD India News and I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum has said she will press charges against a man who groped her during a public appearance. In the viral video, a man is seen hugging Sheinbaum from behind and trying to kiss her sans consent, creating a very unpleasant and uncomfortable moment for the Mexican president. Mexico City Mayor Clara Brugada had announced overnight that the man had been arrested. The incident, which was recorded by several witnesses and posted on social media, has raised serious questions about the president's security. Claudia Sheinbaum said that she had decided to press ahead with bringing charges against the suspect as he had allegedly harassed other women in the crowd.
I filed a complaint. It turns out that this person later went on to harass other women right there on the same street. So this person is now detained.
And world leaders arrive at Pelham Airport for COP30 summit on Thursday. The summit is an effort to show that climate change remains a top global priority despite broken promises and the United States shunning the gathering. About 50 heads of state and government are expected in the rainforest city of Belém for a summit on Thursday and Friday ahead of the annual UN Conference of Parties climate negotiations that open next week. Almost every nation is participating except Washington. Brazil has acknowledged the uphill battle it faces rallying climate action at a time of conflicts and tariff disputes, tight budgets. Leaders gathered in Belém need to deliver a clear mandate to COP to be ambitious and to close the gap and to address the issues that are burning. The COP30 presidency said it had secured outside funding to provide 3 free cabins aboard cruise ships for delegations from low-income countries. After a year of talks, COP30 host Brazil laid out a plan to scale climate finance to $1.3 trillion a year and faced several early signs of the testing political backdrop as the Amazonian city of Belém prepares to welcome world leaders. The near 100-page document dubbed the Baku to Belém Roadmap follows months of talks with stakeholders since the close of last year's event in Azerbaijan. Providing more finance is central to maintaining trust in multilateral climate efforts as emissions continue to rise, leaving some of the poorest countries at more risk of extreme weather events. Yet, the push to rein in emissions took a fresh knock overnight as the EU agreed a final hour deal to cut emissions by 90% by 2040. The United Nations warned that climate change poses a threat to the world's northern forests, saying it was putting the planet's most powerful natural defense at serious risk. Forests cover 4.14 billion hectares, or around a third of the world's land surface, of which 42.5% is in the UNECE area. And Rodrigo Paz Pereira received his credentials as president of Bolivia on Wednesday in a ceremony held in Sucre, the nation's constitutional capital. Paz and Vice President-elect Edmund Lara were formally certified by the Supreme Electoral Tribunal, marking the official confirmation of their electoral victory. The president-elect won the presidency in his first presidential campaign. He secured victory in the first round and went on to win the October 19 runoff against former President Jorge Quiroga with 54% of the vote. Paz's inauguration is scheduled for Saturday in La Paz. It will mark the beginning of new presidential term, closing a 20-year cycle of governance by the leftist movement toward Socialism Party. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Wednesday that he planned to visit the 5 Central Asian countries in the coming year as he met their foreign ministers as part of a Trump administration charm offensive aimed at resource-rich region. He said the presidents of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan are set to meet U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington on Thursday for talks.
I do want to thank Ambassador Gore and Deputy Secretary Landau for the trip they took last week. It was important. They spent a substantial amount of time, and I know they look forward to going back to the other countries they were not able to visit. I personally intend to visit in the coming year as well, and all 5. So I know it'll probably be a week-long or longer trip. So we got to work on that and make that happen together. And I think it's an exciting opportunity and a new era in our relationship in Central Asia, which I think it's been about 10 years since there was a gathering of this kind. So it's been over a decade.
And thousands of pro-government and anti-government protesters gathered outside Serbia's parliament building on Wednesday as demonstrations continued over the deadly Novi Sad railway station collapse. And gathered in front of parliament, the pro-government supporters waved national flags, while the anti-government protesters held banners reading "Diana, a mother of all of us," and "Justice is slow but reachable," while chanting slogans critical of Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić. The protests began a year ago after a railway station roof collapsed in the northern city of Novi Sad, killing 16 people. The incident ignited public outrage over alleged corruption and a lack of accountability, compounded by the absence of prosecutions a year later. And Hungarian opposition leader Peter Magyar launched a nationwide campaign tour on Wednesday ahead of 2026 election. Magyar, leader of the Tisza party and currently leading in most opinion polls, began his Western Hungary visit by delivering donations at an early care home. In his address to local residents, he highlighted economic concerns, accusing Prime Minister Viktor Orban's party of misrepresenting Tisza's position on taxes and pensions. Facing his weakest economic period in 15 years, Orban has introduced pension top-ups, tax cuts, wage increases and subsidized housing loans to bolster support ahead of the 2026 elections, despite a stagnating economy. A violent clash over water between two communities has killed at least 33 people in a village in Chad on Wednesday. Chad's public television reported that fighting between communities from Bahar el Ghazal and Hadjar Lamis provinces over a disputed well left 33 people dead and several others injured. It also stated that several ministers, senior local officials and an army contingent have been deployed to the area. The area had faced similar incidents in 1999 and 2004, resulting in dozens of victims. As per the Vatican, Pope Leo XIV forced a French bishop to resign over relationships with women, while the dismissed bishop condemned the situation as disgusting. Former Bishop of Verdun, Jean-Paul Gushing, resigned in late September, initially citing health reasons. However, the Vatican's embassy in France later revealed that his resignation was also linked to a canonical investigation into his conduct, with civil authorities notified. The Apostolic Nunciature stated that Gushing had promised to avoid any behavior towards women that could violate his vows, but Pope Francis accepted his resignation due to the seriousness of the situation. Gushing later admitted to having a relationship between 2015 and 2022, calling it his only affair and claiming his resignation was driven by jealousies. The Vatican has barred him from performing liturgical or public pastoral duties. And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Thousands gather in the town of Ottery St. Mary in UK for centuries-old tradition known as tar barrel rolling. Locals born and raised in the town of Devon carried flaming barrels of tar through crowds. The barrels' insides are coated with tar throughout the year before being filled with paper and straw to set them ablaze. The event starts with children carrying small barrels, followed by the adults rolling increasingly larger ones until the final biggest barrel at midnight. But here's a catch: only residents of Ottery St. Mary with family links to the tradition are permitted to carry the barrels. In Germany's Cologne, residents paused to capture the bright supermoon as it illuminated the night sky above the city's famous cathedral. The full moon becomes a supermoon when it is closest to Earth in its orbit, appearing up to 7% larger. This November's full moon, known as the Beaver Moon, is traditionally named after the period of heightened beaver activity before winter. In Bangkok, thousands of people gathered to celebrate Thailand's annual Loy Krathong festival, marked by floating lotus-shaped baskets adorned with candles and flowers on rivers and ponds. The tradition symbolizes letting go of bad fortune and honoring the water goddess. This year's celebration took place during the national mourning period of the late Queen Mother Sirkit. Shein opened its first ever permanent store in Paris under tight police security on Wednesday, as France suspended the retailer's online platform amid outrage over its sale of childlike dolls which were not appropriate. Hundreds of shoppers flocked to the new outlet on the 6th floor of the historic BHV department store near Paris City Hall, while police set up barricades to keep protesters away. And still to come on DD India Newshour. India-EU free trade talks gain momentum as key officials meet in New Delhi. India unveils AI governance guidelines to foster safe innovation, celebrates winners of AI hackathon. Tri-service exercise Purvi Prachand Prahar held for ensuring operational synergy among the three wings. You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of the headlines. Trump administration orders 10% of flights cut at 40 busiest airports starting Friday as the US government shutdown continues to cause staffing shortages. US Supreme Court casts doubt on legality of Trump's global tariffs under emergency law. Trump says it would be devastating if they lost a case. Death toll from cargo plane crash in Kentucky rises to 12. Investigators find black boxes, conclude that one of the engines caught fire and detached during takeoff, causing the accident. Final phase of assembly elections in the state of Bihar today. 121 constituencies go to vote across 18 districts in one of the most fiercely run election campaigns. Indian Navy to commission indigenously built INS Kshak on Thursday at Kochi to boost hydrographic survey capabilities. India-EU free trade agreement discussions have intensified with India's Commerce Secretary Rajesh Agarwal meeting European Commission Director General for Trade Sabine Weyand and in New Delhi on Wednesday. The focus was on core areas including trade in goods, trade in services, rules of origin amongst others, along with technical and institutional matter. Both sides reviewed progress and reaffirmed commitment to conclude a balanced and mutually beneficial agreement by end 2025. The meeting comes 3 days after Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal held virtual productive meeting with EU Commissioner for Trade and Economic Security and Commissioner for Agriculture and Food and Minister's October visit to Brussels. These consultations reaffirm the commitment of both sides to intensify engagement and facilitate a fair and balanced agreement, fostering trade, investment, innovation and sustainable growth. FTA negotiations between India and New Zealand also continue in Auckland, aiming to turn dialogue into tangible trade outcomes. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal is holding discussions during the fourth round of talks to achieve balanced outcomes. On Wednesday, the minister highlighted that New Zealand stands to benefit from access to India's vast and rapidly growing market, while India can leverage New Zealand's technological expertise and niche capabilities to build mutually rewarding cooperation. As part of the visit, Piyush Goyal today met CEO of Air New Zealand, Nikhil Ravi Shankar, while en route to Rotorua City. The minister talked about the airline's impressive role in regional connectivity. They also discussed India's expanding aviation sector and the exciting new opportunities that it offers. After hectic rounds of campaigning, India's eastern state of Bihar is geared up for the first phase of polling in 121 constituencies, which is set to decide the fate of the two-decade-long Nitish Kumar-led NDA government in the state. In the first phase of polling, around 3.75 crore voters will decide the fate of 1,314 candidates across 18 districts. Polling is being held across 121 seats in the 243-seat Bihar Assembly. The central themes of the electoral battle this time are both pressing and complex. Unemployment, outmigration, corruption, and the decline of education and healthcare dominate the discourse. Thursday's election will decide the fate of several high-profile candidates, including RJD's Tejasvi Yadav, BJP leaders Samrat Chaudhary and Mangal Pandey, and JDU's Shravan Kumar and Vijay Kumar Chaudhary. Tej Pratap Yadav, who has floated his own party, is also in the fray from the Mawa seat. Voting for the Phase 2 will take place on November 11, while counting of votes will take place on November 14. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appealed to all voters of the Phase 1 in the Bihar Assembly elections to vote with full enthusiasm. In a social media post on the occasion, the Prime Minister extended his special congratulations to all the youngsters of the state who are going to cast their vote for the first time. He urged everyone to remember the vote first and then have refreshments. All right, indeed, India Salman Heather joins us live from Patna. Hi Salman, a very good morning. It's a very, very important day for the entire state of Bihar. Tell us, where are you and how's the atmosphere there right now? Salman.
Yes, Siddharth, very good morning to you. And it is indeed a very pleasant morning here.
Really?
I am at St. Xavier's School, which is in the heart of Patna, near Gandhi Maidan.
Okay.
And it is the hot seat also because Nitin Naveen is NDA candidate from here. He has been minister in present cabinet of Nitish Kumar. So the contest is triangular rather due to Jan Suraj, but the main contest is between Mahagathbandhan, Great Alliance and NDA. So Nitin Naveen's fate is at stake here. But other hot seats are there where today is the day of decision for the people. As far as the polling station is concerned, very few voters have come up right now to cast their votes, but there are many old-aged early voters who has come here. The another seat is Tarapur, from where Samrat Chaudhary, another Deputy Chief Minister, is contesting. He is logged in a triangular fight. He is also logged in a triangular fight. And another Deputy Chief Minister, Vijay Kumar Sinha, is contesting from Lakhisarai, whose fate will be seen in EVMs today.
Okay.
Yes, so these are the situation from as far as Patna is concerned. It has maximum 14 assembly constituencies which are going to poll in first phase. Yes, Siddharth.
All right, Salman, we'll keep taking updates from you, but we leave it there as of now. Thank you so much, Salman. India's maritime capabilities are set to get a powerful upgrade. The Navy is all geared to induct a new state-of-the-art hydrographic survey vessel 1 that will strengthen navigational safety and support missions across our seas. Let's take a look at the arrival of Kshak, the latest addition to the Navy's survey fleet.
The Indian Navy is set to significantly boost its hydrographic survey strength with the commissioning of Kshak, the third vessel of the survey vessel class and the first to be based at Southern Naval Command. Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, will formally induct the ship into service at Kochi Naval Base on November 6, 2025. Built by Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers in Kolkata, Kshak stands as a powerful symbol of Atmanirbhar Bharat. With more than 80% indigenous content, the ship reflects India's growing shipbuilding capabilities. Named after the Sanskrit word of guide, Kshak is designed to map both coastal and deep sea waters with high precision. The survey conducted by the vessel will help ensure safer navigation through ports, harbors, and key maritime routes. Packed with cutting-edge hydrographic and oceanographic technology, Kshak is equipped with a high-resolution multi-beam echo sounder, autonomous and remotely operated underwater vehicles, and 4 survey motorboats. A helicopter deck further expands its operational flexibility. The commissioning of Kshak marks a major stride in the Navy's mission to strengthen its survey and charting infrastructure. Ready to chart the unknown, this indigenously built vessel will play a frontline role in safeguarding India's maritime frontiers. Bureau Report, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Amul and IFFCO, India's leading cooperatives, for securing the first and second ranks globally in the International Cooperative Alliance World Cooperative Monitor 2025. In a social media post, he said, and I quote, "Congratulations to Amul and IFFCO. India's cooperative sector is vibrant and is also transforming several lives. Our government is taking numerous steps to further encourage this sector in the times to come." Securing global ranking for cooperatives is a global endorsement of PM Narendra Modi's vision of Sehkar se Samriddhi, or prosperity through cooperation, which has revived the cooperative sector, giving a new impetus to India's economy. Union Minister for Labour and Employment Dr. Mansukh Mandavia delivered keynote address at the plenary session of Second World Summit for Social Development in Qatar's capital Doha. Dr. Mandavia highlighted the government's exemplary efforts in poverty alleviation and expansion of social security coverage. The minister also took a jab on Pakistan for repeatedly misusing the Indus Waters Treaty mechanisms to obstruct India's legitimate projects.
पाकिस्तान द्वारा भारत के बारे में कल की गई कुछ अनुचित बातों पर कड़ी आपत्ति जताते हैं। यह एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय फोरम का गलत इस्तेमाल है, जिसका मकसद भारत के खिलाफ गलत जानकारी फैलाकर सोशल डेवलपमेंट के एजेंडा से दुनिया का ध्यान भटकाना है। पाकिस्तान ने सस्टेन्ड हॉस्टिलिटी और क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म से इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी की स्पिरिट को कमजोर किया है। उसने भारत के लेजिटिमेट प्रोजेक्ट में रुकावट डालने के लिए ट्रीटी मैकेनिज्म का बार-बार गलत इस्तेमाल किया है।
The Ministry of Electronics, Information and Technology unveiled the guidelines of India's AI governance, enabling safe and trusted innovation, a key milestone in India's AI mission. The event, organized in New Delhi, was attended by Secretary, Ministry of Electronics, Information and Technology S. Krishnan. Professor Ajay Kumar Sood, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, were amongst other dignitaries in attendance.
Really want to have a guiding principle which he said, do no harm. That's, I think, the three words which define the guiding thing on this, and whatever it needs to do using technology for regulation and making sandboxes, risk mitigation in various forms, and not something which is written in stone.
Additionally, the event also announced the winners of the India AI GSI Mineral Targeting with AI Hackathon and felicitated them with 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs rupees, with a special prize for all women teams to encourage diversity and inclusion. The tri-service exercise Purvi Prachand Prahar to integrate warfighting capability, technological adaptation and operational synergy among the three wings was carried out in the rugged mountains of Mechuka in Arunachal Pradesh on Wednesday. The exercise, which exemplifies the Indian Armed Forces' precision mobilization, rapid force projection and joint operational readiness in the eastern Himalayas. This month, the exercise highlighted seamless interoperability, refined tactics, techniques and procedures, integrated unmanned systems and networked command and control. Demonstrating swift deployment and coordinated maneuvers in high-altitude terrain, the exercise underscores India's evolving warfighting philosophy and commitment to mission readiness across all domains. India's Ministry of Culture will organize the inaugural ceremony of the commemoration of 150 years of the national song Vande Mataram on 7th of November in New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the nationwide celebrations for Vande Mataram, written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee on 7th of November 1875 on the occasion of Akshaya Navami. The event will kick off a year-long celebration from 7th of November 2025 to 7th of November 2026, sanctioned by the Union Cabinet and the National Implementation Committee. The celebrations will begin with a mass singing of the full version of Vande Mataram on 7th of November, held simultaneously across the country in public places, offices, schools and institutions involving citizens from all walks of life. And still to come on DD India Newshour. The Bank of England will announce its interest rate decision on Thursday. India and Australia meet again with an eye on series lead in the 4th T20 International at Carrera. And we show you spectacular Deepavali celebrations organized across India.
Tell us whether the British were really interested in religion, or was this all about politics?
The British wanted to know as much about it as they could. But what they got was not necessarily a truly accurate reflection of the lived reality. It doesn't matter what your religion is as long as the man is good.
I cannot not ask you about the Kerala story, that contentious, controversial movie.
It really was not just propaganda, it was just blatantly false.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and the Bank of England will announce its interest rate decision on Thursday, with most investors expecting no change before this month's government budget. But some analysts say inflation heat is cooling enough for a cut. What had until recently seemed likely to be a clear majority vote to keep the BOE's bank rate at 4% now looks much closer. Investors are assigning an almost 1 in 3 chance of a cut to 3.75%, up from a 1 in 10 possibility a month ago. Britain's inflation rate of 3.8% remains the highest among the group of 7 major advanced economies, and the BOE's benchmark interest rate is doubled that of the European Central Bank. Wall Street stocks advanced on Wednesday after stronger than expected jobs data helped ease concerns about the U.S. economy. According to latest report by ADP, U.S. private companies added 42,000 jobs in October, rebounding from a loss of 29,000 jobs in September. The report raised hopes that the Federal Reserve might lower interest rates again in December. Major U.S. stocks on Wednesday opened to little change but picked up momentum as the day progressed. The S&P 500 gained 0.4% as buyers stepped in after recent market weakness. However, worries remain over market valuations and the record-long U.S. government shutdown now exceeding the 36-day mark. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado spoke at the America Business Forum on Wednesday, emphasizing Venezuela's potential to transform into an energy and technology hub. She also highlighted a $1.7 trillion investment opportunity in oil, gas and innovation sectors. Machado urged global backing against what she described as the Nicolas Maduro's criminal regime. She also praised international efforts to bolster democracy in Venezuela and proposed restoring rule of law and transparency to strengthen regional relations with countries like Brazil, Colombia and Mexico. You're watching DD India News. Our time now for sport, and India will aim to take a lead in the series as they take on Australia in the 4th T20 match in Gold Coast on Thursday. All-rounder Nitish Kumar Reddy, who missed the first 3 matches due to injury, could make a comeback. The 21-year-old took part in the training on Wednesday. India bowling coach Mone Mokal said youngster will be assessed after the session to check his progress. India will be without Kuldeep Yadav as he has been sent back home to prepare for the Test series against South Africa. Meanwhile, Travis Head has also left the Australian squad to gear up for the Ashes. The series is currently tied 1-1 after the first game was washed out. Wicket-keeper batter Rishabh Pant has returned to India's squad for the 2-test series against South Africa. Pant missed the series against West Indies last month after fracturing his foot during a test match against England in September, with Dhruv Jurel stepping in to keep wickets. He proved his match fitness last week in a game between India A and South Africa A by scoring 90 runs. Fast bowler Akashdeep also returns to the squad after missing the West Indies series. Skipper Shubman Gill and pace spearhead Jasprit Bumrah will join the team after ongoing T20 series in Australia. The first test begins on 14th of November in Kolkata. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted the Champions of Women's World Cup at his residence in New Delhi on Wednesday. PM congratulated the team for the victory and praised their remarkable comeback in the tournament after the string of 3 defeats and trolling they had faced on social media. Captain Harmanpreet Kaur recalled meeting PM in 2017 without the trophy, and now that they have met him with the trophy, they wished to meet him more often. Vice Captain Smriti Mandhana said PM had motivated them and has been an inspiration for all of them. She also spoke about how girls are doing well in all fields. Harmanpreet asked PM how he manages to always remain in the present. PM said, being so has been a part of his life and it has become his habit. PM Modi also asked them to take forward the message of Fit India, especially among girls across the country. He discussed the growing problem of obesity and highlighted importance of being fit. He also asked them to go to their schools and motivate young minds there. On to updates from second round of the FIDE Chess World Cup in Goa. Grandmaster Deepavali Ghosh pulled off major upset with black pieces, stunning 2-time candidates winner IN to ensure a place in the third round. The Kolkatan had drawn the round's first game and won the match 1.5.5. Also advancing to the next round were world champion D. Gukesh and highest ranked Indian Arjuna Erikesi. Gukesh was held to a draw with white pieces in the first game, defeated 2024 World Junior Champion Nogurbek of Kazakhstan in 59 moves to reach the third round. Arjun was the only Indian to grab full points in both games as he defeated Grandmaster Martin Petrov of Bulgaria in 48 moves with white pieces to make it 2 wins in 2 games. Spectacular Dev Deepavali celebration were the main attraction at Varanasi city in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh on Wednesday night, merging faith, culture and modern technology. Dev Deepavali is celebrated 15 days after Diwali on Kartik Purnima. The festival marks Lord Shiv's victory over demon Tripurasur. Over 15 lakh diyas were lit across 88 ghats of Varanasi as part of the event, which was kicked off by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday greeted the nation on Dev Deepavali and shared pictures of the spectacular illuminated ghats on the banks of the Ganga in Varanasi. Sharing the spectacular pictures, the Prime Minister said that along the banks of Mother Ganga, millions of lamps lit on the ghats of Kashi carrying wishes for happiness and prosperity for all. He added that this divinity and grandeur is enchanting to everyone's mind and soul. He also extended heartfelt wishes to countrymen on the occasion of Dev Deepavali. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.